A little Dutch angle going on there.
It could be that the crazy senator
Yeah.
was actually mad because there's a good maybe he thinks there's a good reason that they did this.
It seemed like the opposite.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. I didn't actually listen to
Just from what he said, he was...
But it's possible that he believes that, like, oh, there was a good reason we did this, and the news is, and I can't say because it's all classified.
Yep. But no, the way he started talking, you can see, like, Fox just cuts away from him. It's like, all right, let's do this.
Well, why doesn't he do something about it?
Maybe he will, him and Mitt Romney.
Why doesn't he convince other people to do something about it?
Too many of them, I think, are permanently evil. All right.
But if you're also, see, the thing is, if you're like a Democrat, it's, it's like there's not much you can do. But
we got like 6 people watching. People missed us.
Go away, people. You got something better to do.
All right, I will start this. I'm gonna say it's a Thursday show because it's but we'll upload it
we have a special category.
Oh, we never use that stupid category though.
You can use it now.
All right. Does that even go to the feed? Like, are there any problems with that special category?
Yeah, it should go to the main.
I don't know. I haven't used that category in like forever.
It'll go in the main feed.
It'll go somewhere.
I don't know if it'll go on the homepage though.
I'll find out. If it doesn't go on the homepage, I'll switch it to Thursday.
I think it should go to the homepage. Maybe.
It's Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we're talking about some meta about Geek Nights.
We're talking about it's meta moment, the whole show.
All right. So yeah, every year we have a Geek Nights hiatus around this time, usually because we have a bunch of conventions. We have to like travel for the holidays, like family stuff happens. It's a good time to sort of like reset, get some like quiet work done, like I futzed with the audio pipeline, all that kind of thing. But this year, for a bunch of unrelated reasons, this was like the biggest hiatus we've ever had.
We did some episodes in there, but not many.
Not many, because one, there were some personal dramas among us and our friends, like some medical issues and things that, like, not me or Scott directly, but like our friends.
It all started after PAX West when I moved.
Yep, Scott moved.
A short distance.
I'm like tearing apart my bedroom.
It still took a lot of effort. That bedroom's not keeping you from doing a podcast.
No, well, it kept me from doing a podcast like one day because I had to deal with
but then
crap.
I was done moving. Right, we did some shows a little bit, but then you went on a business travel.
Yep, I went on the problem was
and then
I used to do this Asia trip, like 2 or 3 weeks in Asia every year for work. But my new job, I didn't have to do that trip, so I planned my life and expected to take all this time off at different times. And then I also had to do this trip again, so I like had double the time off from what I expected.
Anyway, and then we had a PAX Unplugged, and then it was like Thanksgiving, PAX Unplugged, and then
like Christmassy time,
December,
MagFest
time, MagFest, and PAX South is next week.
Yeah, like this coming weekend is the only free weekend I'll have had in like more than a month.
Yep.
I do not have free time.
No, but PAX South should only like bump out maybe one more Geek Nights episode out of the way. And
next week on Tuesday, we're going to review Nokosu Dice. That's like the hottest new hotness.
Right.
We've been wanting to talk about this since PAX Unplugged.
Yeah, there was a pre-order for it and it sold out, so deal with it.
I mean, I made my own copy. That's how obsessed I am with this game.
I pre-ordered it.
It was sold out by the time I thought to go pre-order.
Oops.
Yep,
well,
oops
everyone
indeed.
else has one.
I got fucked.
So I'm going to get one.
But also, then we're going to have PAX East actually not that long after PAX South.
PAX East is early this year.
And then a bunch of
we'll have somewhat consistent Geek Nights in February.
March is going to get a little fucked.
Right, a little early March, maybe, who knows. But then
after
April,
PAX East.
Yeah, April through PAX West, we're going to have consistent Geek Nights again.
Yep, so don't worry.
As consistent as Geek Nights is.
Because I know, like, with webcomics in the early 2000s, whenever there was a news post that was like, the state of the comic, that usually translated to, we're ending. And most podcasts, the state of the podcast literally is the show where people say, yeah, we can't do this anymore. We're doubling down. Do not get...
I always find it funny in general when people feel the need to announce quitting, ending, leaving, as opposed to just stop. It's like you don't need to. Someone who announces I'm leaving, it's like that tells me you're not actually you might be leaving, but it's you're looking for all kinds of attention and discussion about you really just want to make a huff.
Well, it depends.
And you're like your real goal.
Are you leaving in a huff? Or are you ending one project to do it? Like, what if we were like, Geek Nights is ending because we are now joining some company to make
Whatever,
like gaming.
but
Like
the
we both
point
work
is,
for a game company.
yeah, if you're making it like just an announcement, but I feel like the most of the time when people like,
here
announce,
are my theses on why I am leaving this community.
right, when someone does that, what they're
things that are going in everybody's wife,
what
fucking
they're
everybody in
actually
everybody's
saying,
room,
what they're actually
fucking back
saying,
door,
yes,
fucking fish
all
tank.
right, you can shut up now.
I'm just curious if anyone knows what I'm talking about. That's an in joke from like the earliest Geek Nights.
If someone does that, what they're actually saying is, I don't want to leave. I want to have a big discussion, and I want you to acquiesce to some of my demands to change things to make me less upset so that I won't leave.
No, because honestly,
I want to see how upset people are that I'm leaving. Show me how much you miss me.
Scott, here's the thing. You're thinking about like recent internet shouty men. I know a lot of webcomics where that last thing was like, look, some shit went down in my life. I can't do this anymore. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, it's a real, like, heartfelt goodbye. I've also seen a lot of people like, look, I'm stopping this webcomic because I have been working for Marvel for like 5 years and I can't keep doing this comic that you're all obsessed with. Like, it's not always your thing, I think, but most internet shouty men in the last decade who have
The
done
point
it.
is, if you say it in more than a few words, you're right. That's just right. You should be able to just be like, yo, I can't do this anymore. Bye-bye.
Yeah, but I would give like a final farewell if Geek Nights ever ended, but I suspect Geek Nights will end when one or both of us die.
All right, let me get this poison over here.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm drinking some poison right now.
All right, so
let's do some news thing of the day. It's a normal Geek Nights.
We'll do some news and thing of the
first,
day.
the opening bit. You know how we roll. We've had like a month of adventures, but we're going to talk about some things that happen in our lives that are probably pretty prosaic, and literally all of those exciting things will be lost like tears in the rain.
Yes.
So for the last year, I've been getting bruises like in the bottom third of my quad, like my legs, like above my knee, like up there. Like just I have these bruises, and for a long time, like they just appear every now and then. I'd be like, oh, what did I do? And I always kind of vaguely thought, oh, I must have just banged it rock climbing. But I haven't been rock climbing much in the last month and a half. I still got these bruises. So I was thinking like, oh no, about this. Do I have like a disease? Like, should I ask a doctor about this?
Bruisitis.
So then today at work, I had a meeting that was a good heated conversation with one of my best engineers. Like we're like on a whiteboard, like trying to figure out a big thing. And the tables at my office are at this height and they have super sharp corners that come to like this weird point. And I bumped into this table like 6 times in the course of this discussion, like getting up and down. And I realized that is literally exactly where the bruise appears.
So you've been bumping into the table for a long time?
I've been bumping into these tables at work for like the last 2 years, and I just assumed it was rock climbing injuries, and now I've realized the truth. Fuck those tables. God damn it.
Why don't you complain about the tables?
I will. I'm going to open a ticket tomorrow and be like, listen.
Is anyone else bruising themselves on the tables?
I don't know. Maybe I should ask the company. I'll put out a blast and be like, "Hey, so you all know me. I'm the product manager of all these things. The thing that's bothering me more about this community,
really grinds my
more
gears. These tables. Get these tables out here. I quit.
So how about you? What would happen to you in the last month?
Whatever. I went to some conventions. And
here's a question.
I
What
stayed
was
inside a lot to avoid the cold.
What was the best thing you did at MagFest? Because we were just there. Like the most fun thing. Top of your mind.
Most fun thing at MagFest, period?
Because I got one.
I don't even know.
I didn't tabletop a lot.
There was too much good shit.
Yeah, this was a good MagFest. I went to a lot of panels.
I don't know. There was so much like equally good shit. I can't. There wasn't like one thing that was like, oh, that was the best thing.
I guess what's top of mind? Like, what's one of the great things? Because mine is simple. I went to more concerts than I normally go to.
I did that too.
But I caught the end of Super Soul Brothers, who I love, but I've seen them a lot. But then I caught the ska band.
Okay.
Ska System. Never has a band been on the fucking wavelength of rim before. Like this band. They come out, they play some like ska. The second song they play is a ska cover of the Zelda 2 like temple music. Then they did a ska cover of Sans Undertale's song. Like it was good.
Okay.
Also like late 90s, early 2000s infotainment positivity songs. It was a good ska band. I'm feeling them.
I don't know. It wasn't the best thing at MagFest, but there was that. For some reason, I went to several computer programming related things. I went to a panel of a guy talking about writing an emulator.
Oh, that was fun because it wasn't like,
Then I
here's
went
the
to-
science of it. He was just like, I tried to write an emulator. Here's the shit I had to deal
We went
with.
to the TASBot panel.
That was actually pretty
They
good.
also talked about programming.
Yep.
Right? And then we went to the panel, super late night panel, which it shouldn't have been so late night.
I only came to this last third of it, and that last third was fascinating. And apparently, according to Scott, the first 2/3 were like way more
There
than
was a
that.
guy who was an expert on Japanese PCs, right? Like he was all into Japanese PCs and PC games from, because around basically it was Windows 95 is when Japan joined the Wintel, right?
Yep.
Before then, they had all these other PC systems. You may have heard of like MSX, MSX2, like it was like FM Towns or something like that. There were like all these other PC systems, right? Architectures that they had before Windows 95 when they joined the rest of the world. And you don't have those computers in the West.
And people wrote games
Just like
on them.
Japan didn't have Apple IIs and Commodores like we had, right? And we didn't have ZX Spectrums like the UK had. So
I watch a lot of
there were a lot of
non-American-
games and other fascinating softwares for those systems, and it was really cool to see.
What's funny because I watch most of the people I watch on YouTube who talk about that kind of stuff are not in the U.S. So I literally think of it as the ZX Spectrum.
Right? It's like 8-bit guy doesn't yet. 8-bit guy doesn't know nothing about MSX2, right?
No, I don't know nothing about MSX2.
There was MSX and MSX2.
I didn't even know there was an MSX2.
Yep.
I knew about the MSX even when I was young because when I was a kid playing.
Well, it wasn't the MSX. MSX was like a standard.
Yeah. But I knew it existed, but didn't know anything about it because as a kid, I knew Metal Gear, and some nerd at my school was like, "Oh, the real version's on the MSX, but you can't play that," and he didn't know anything more than that sentence.
That's all. That's also all I know. But yeah, that was very fascinating.
All right. So in some news, we're not going to talk about how the world's on fire and our president
Well,
is literally
there's many. The world,
the world
is on
literally
fire.
on fire right now.
The world is on fire in many places, in many ways.
both
but
literally and metaphorically. They're
yet
both things. Are happening.
somehow we can still sit here and make a Geek Nights and go to work and do everything normally.
Yep. For now, but we are shielded by privilege and money.
We are shielded by many things.
Yep.
But those shields are on fire.
Yep. Well, I mean, I played some Artemis Space Bridge on Sunday at MagFest, and I did engineering, which I've never done before. Repeatedly, I had to remind the captain that we do not have any fucking forward shields because you will not go to a space station. Our shields are low, but they're holding for now. So, in some other news, College Humor, and I'm not going to go too deep into the details, but I'm going to link to
A source of many Geek Nights things of the day
College
during
Humor
the first many years of Geek Nights' existence.
was a big deal. I don't think you understand how important College Humor was to like modern internet humor.
Like 10
to,
years
like,
ago,
internet
Oh,
video
50
content creation.
around the time Geek Nights was created, up for several years thereafter,
Yup.
College Humor was a big fucking deal.
And Adam Conover, who I haven't talked to, like I knew him, I don't know him now because like a whole bunch of shit.
He is more famous now.
Oh, yeah.
He had like a TV show.
But he was one of the like College Humor was a lot of very talented people doing a lot of really cool stuff.
a lot of those people went on to become like SNL writers and
Yup.
shit, right?
But
it was
they
like
were-
it was like an entry point into the world of like, big time comedy. Is you would go to College Humor, you would get
It's like SNL, but good.
right as like a entry level comedian, and then you would flex, right, and then you'd bust out. Like wasn't there was like a Gurewitch who was on College Humor who was
Yeah.
like a cousin of the
Yeah.
Perry Bible Fellowship
Yeah.
Gurewitch. Yeah, there's all kinds of people on there.
I actually like randomly. I knew a lot of people at
There was
College
there was
Humor.
a guy named something Rubin who wasn't related to me.
Yeah.
But then my sister knew him from
Yeah.
somewhere. Anyway.
But anyway, I'll link to this thread because basically, College Humor was one of those things that existed back when there were more websites.
Yep.
And if you're not aware, we've talked about this a little bit before, but basically, Facebook and Google sort of conspired to destroy all other like content creation on Earth.
Well, it's like, why have your own website, say frontrowcrew.com, with a bunch of videos on
Or
it?
say Screw Attack or College Humor or Dorkly or any of these sites that had independent content.
Right. Why make a website where you post videos and people come to your site to watch your videos when there's YouTube, the place people go to watch videos? You just have a YouTube channel.
Yup.
You'll get more views that way.
Coupled with
But now
Facebook.
YouTube owns you.
But also, they made a lot of non-video content that was really good.
Yep.
Cracked, also. Cracked's another one of these sites.
Yep.
And basically Facebook lied so much about viewership
Right. We've
numbers.
talked about this story before. It's old story.
Yeah, that it destroyed College Humor. But College Humor limped on and only now is being completely decimated. Like, almost everyone was fired. A lot of really talented people are out of work.
Right,
So,
well, they'll all get real comedian jobs being writers in SNL or whatever.
if you need, like,
Not
comedy...
that SNL is that great, but it pays and it still exists.
Yeah, but if you need comedy people or you need, like, content creation people, like
Maybe
production
we
line
do.
people...
Anyone got laid off College Humor, come work for Geek Nights temporarily. We can't pay you enough to eat.
I can't pay you a salary, but I can pay you contract gigs.
Yes, we can pay you contracting hours to, like, make something.
If any of you want to come on Geek Nights. But anyway, read this thread. This is a, like, I tweeted about this, but this is a real shame. Like, this is a sad day for just humor and content on the internet.
Yep.
And it's worth reading this thread to really internalize how fucked up a situation the internet is in right now.
It's similar to all the private equity destroying things. By the way, Bed Bath & Beyond, next thing to be destroyed by private equity. But I don't care because fuck Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yep.
I don't like them.
I don't really have an opinion on the existence of Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't know why.
I just don't like that when I bought something there with my credit card, they hassled me for, like, info, like email address, and I didn't give it to them, and then somehow they still were able to spam me in my mail and email box incessantly, and it was hard to unsubscribe.
Oh, but I never had that problem.
But I did succeed at doing it.
I mean, I remember back in the day when Radio Shack would ask for your zip code and fucking wouldn't sell you things unless you gave it to them.
Yep.
So yeah, you got any news?
I do have a news. So in case you're living under a nerdy rock, I don't know how any nerd doesn't know about this, but AGDQ is happening right the hell now.
Awesome games done quick.
And if you are sitting there and you're like, I've heard of this GDQ thing. It's not up my alley. I don't really care. Whatever, right? Yesterday, they had a run. Was it yesterday or 2 days ago?
I don't know, because I don't watch them live that often. I usually watch the VODs.
It was yesterday. They had a run of Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Now, we've seen Mike Tyson's Punch-Out at GDQ several times. We saw people beat it really fast. We saw people beat it blindfolded.
Yup.
So this time, they had people beat it 2P, 1C. That's 2 people, 1 controller.
That is nuts.
One person's got the arrows, one person's got the buttons. So basically, I think the way you do this is you master it on your own. The other person masters it on their own.
And you're just both doing frame perfect input.
Right, you master it with the same techniques. Then you just put one of your hands, like, in your pocket, and you imagine yourself pushing the buttons on both sides of the controller, but only one of your hands is actually touching the controller.
Yep.
And the other person's doing the same thing. And much like Evangelion episode DDR, whatever episode that is, you beat Punch-Out. Now,
9? Was it episode 9?
I don't know. Regardless, what was fascinating was not that they managed to do this, because, like, okay.
It was episode 9. I'm a fucking nerd.
Okay. The point is, they added a little twist. They did a 2P1C and blindfolded. Both people blindfolded.
Holy crap.
2P1C. They beat Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, something I cannot do. 1P1C eyes open.
Yeah, I love Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. I've never actually beaten it.
I can sometimes beat Sandman, and Mr. Super Macho Man usually takes me down. And if I use the password to go to Mike Tyson, I basically can't beat him.
Yep, I've beat Mike Tyson
I can knock him down.
a couple times.
I can't beat him. I'm
couple
sure if I
times,
practiced, I could.
But I only ever beat him by taking a password directly to him.
Yeah.
I've never beaten the entire game in one go, ever.
No.
I don't think I ever could.
No,
I'm old.
I'm pretty good, but not real good.
Though, I was getting so paranoid because as I'm older, like, I play a lot of DDR, but there's 2 songs that I have been able to pass that I cannot pass anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But last night, I actually almost passed Max 300 again, so I might be getting it back. But I'm training real hard.
Okay.
Yeah, GDQ is amazing, and you should appreciate the craft, even if you do not like video games or speedrunning.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess it's time for Things of the Day. I thought mine's pretty funny. I like my thing of the day a lot, but Scott's is way better.
I see Star Trek, which I don't watch, so.
I like Star Trek, but basically, I recently rewatched all of Star Trek Voyager. I watched it all. So I've seen every episode of Voyager fairly recently. And this is a video that is just Star Trek Voyager out of context. And it is edited so well, and it has like good sets of like recurring themes that it's actually really funny to watch, whether or not you have seen Star Trek Voyager. So I encourage you, and particularly if you have never seen Star Trek Voyager, to watch this video. So what do you got?
So here's some people in an office somewhere. It's clearly not in the United States because they're not speaking the English. But they have some issue with their computer monitors, and this is not a faked thing. This isn't like some kind of setup or anything like that, right? This is like a real deal. Whenever they sit in this chair and then stand up from the chair, the monitors like go and like cancel out and then have to like reboot all the monitors.
No, at first I was like, is it just some like power saving bullshit in this office? Nothing like that. Like it's just a normal office chair.
Yep. So, what's the deal going on here? Apparently, they're using some sort of DisplayLink hardware. DisplayLink makes, I guess, video stuff. I don't know. I've never used any of their hardware.
Wireless VR technology.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. And this DisplayLink hardware is not shielded properly from interference. So the electrical pulse of some kind, maybe static electricity related.
Oh yeah, reading this bug thing. When people stand or sit on gas lift chairs, which is any modern chair.
Yeah, you know, the chairs that go up and down like right, with the lever? That's a gas lift chair.
They can generate an EMI spike.
Yes, that minor spike from from going up or down in the gas lift chair of certain kinds too quickly causes some electricity in the air, and that makes these monitors fuck up because the DisplayLink hardware sucks. So don't buy DisplayLink crap. And also, this is hilarious because it's hilarious because it's not fake. It's like you'd expect someone to do this like a practical joke, like they put something in someone's chair, as like right? But no, this is totally just a real bug. There's the bug report on the DisplayLink website. They admit it.
That's amazing.
Yep, I wouldn't admit it if I was selling a product.
So in the meta moment, it's the entire rest of the show.
Right, so let's at least for the meta moment section talk about the immediate meta.
So first, we were just at MagFest. We did not video our panels because they were...
We were lazy.
Yep, mostly we were lazy, but also they were either repeats or they were like panels, and they were all pretty good. It was a great MagFest, but I will be posting the slides for the real harm of games because the doctor who joined us added several citations that are fantastic and further solidify that we are right. We also did a brand new panel that we're going to tweak based on feedback and based on like how it went the first time. I think it went pretty well.
Yeah, we threw a panel together like slapdash that hopefully we'll do again, and then we'll record and put it online.
Yep, but I'm going to change some points, tweak some slides. I realized some things about the panel. I think we can tighten it up pretty well. But I might post for the Patreon patrons. I did record us doing it just on OBS. So I think I'm going to post that to the Patreon so you can see like what an early GeekNights panel.
So you can have audio and slides.
Audio and slides.
Okay.
And also because I just did it for my own edification because the projector was actually a weird resolution and I didn't check that because I didn't care because we weren't making video. The slides are cropped and zoomed in weird.
Oh, okay.
Just because the projector was like a weird aspect ratio and resolution for some reason.
We're going to PAX South, but we're just doing another one of those 40 whatevers.
Nope, the deal is we're doing the 41 tabletop games you must play.
41. Whoa.
But the deal is
we never even finish all 40 when we do these things.
Yeah, we do. We only failed once.
You should change it to 30 something.
Well, the difference is the panel we do, like the 40 X games you should play. The deal is always here is a wide variety of games that will like force you to touch every kind of gaming, like chess nerd, play Magic nerd, play any other game, like that kind of thing.
Yep.
Like play these foundational games that teach you something. But we cannot talk about any game we've talked about in that panel. It's just, there's too many games out now. Here's a list of games that we think are worth playing for some reason.
Yeah. The point is, since we're not doing one of the meaningful panels, I also don't know if we should record this one or not.
We definitely should because it's all new content. And honestly,
it's not all new content. We've done this panel how many times already?
It's 100% different games from any version of this panel we've ever done ever. Also, people really like these panels because you forget, we see all the games and we know a lot about games. Most gamers don't know what games to play. They really need help. And what do you want to go to Board Game Geek and look at the top 20? That is not going to give you a good time.
Right.
Not today. Go find some YouTube shouty men. Come to us. We're just podcast shouty men.
Yeah.
YouTube is secondary.
So anyway, that's pretty much all the Oh, the book club book
Tale of
is.
Genji. Yes, I'm reading it again.
I reread chapter 1 on the train.
I'm gonna read.
It's gonna take a while, but it's coming.
We're gonna do some sub episodes of the Tale of Genji. Like we're both gonna read for a while, and at some point in the next month or two, we'll probably do an episode up to a certain point. Because all I want to say is Genji's actually kind of a piece of shit.
You don't say.
At least in the beginning.
It's the first novel ever.
Yup.
In the history of humanity, is the oldest possible novel.
But I finished.
There are older writings, clearly, but those older writings were not novels.
So every year,
like the Odyssey, not a novel.
Nope. It's an oral story, and oral storytelling, but or an oral tradition.
An epic poem.
Every year around Christmas, I usually read like some nonfiction about World War I. I'm weird. That's
okay.
Christmas truce and all that.
Yeah.
And this year, I picked a pretty thorough history of World War I instead of a shorter thing. But I finished it a little while ago, so now I'm diving back into the Tale of Genji. All I really learned from this book, other than a lot of details that will really help me in some of the games I might play with Chris at some point, is that you might think, the early learning of World War I, you think, well, yeah, Germany caused the war. Germany was mostly at fault. And then you think, well, no, the European powers, complicated thing.
Everyone was at fault.
Yeah, but Galaxy Brain, no, Germany was 90% at fault.
Oh, okay.
Fucking Germany. It's like that Simpsons episode where Lisa causes the trouble and Marge is like, Bart, no. And Bart's like, what'd I do? And she's like, sorry, force a habit. When it comes to World War III, it'll be like, Germany, no. Oh, sorry.
I don't think it'll be Germany anytime soon.
No, Germany's if shit goes real bad, Germany's where people have to flee to stage the resistance.
Ironic.
Yeah, quite. I feel like Germany learned its lesson. They got all the world wars out of their system.
Anyway.
So,
GeekNights. GeekNights
is a podcast.
GeekNights is 15. It depends how you measure, right? Because the first non-beta GeekNights was Halloween 2005.
Yep. And funnily enough, I found this on December 1st, 2005. Re-recorded an episode that we called Meta.
I think that was about the concept of meta and not actually.
No.
No.
Tonight on Geek Nights, we talk about Geek Nights itself.
Okay. But that was basically at the very start of Geek Nights.
Yep.
I wonder what the hell we said.
I'm gonna link to it. I don't know what we said.
I probably should have listened to that before we did this.
It's kind of better if we don't, because I think what I want to do is do this show. So this is 15 years. Well, 50. Yeah.
It's hard to say if it's 14 or 15, or if 2020 is our 15th year. I mean, it's pointless. It doesn't matter, right? Because it's the start of a new decade. But no, it's not until it's 20. Whatever.
Look, we started a podcast in the early days of podcasting back in 2005. Somehow it's 2020, and almost no one who was podcasting when we started is still podcasting.
Right. There are some. Anyway.
Not many.
No, not many.
Also, even the people who are still podcasting have not been podcasting that often. We've done more
We're podcasting less often over time.
Yeah, but we've consistently done 2 episodes a week, except during the holidays, for most of that time. And we did do 4 episods a week until 2009?
Yeah, anyway. The point is...
We've done we've been podcasting for a long goddamn time.
Right now, right now, we're going to make a turning point in the Geek Nights way.
Yep.
Right? And so let us, take this opportunity to discuss the ghosts of past, present, and future.
Yep.
Right? So we started this podcast because we had nothing else to do?
Yeah. So we graduated college, and that's a tough time for a lot of people, especially in the U.S., because you go from an environment surrounded by all your closest friends. You have basically zero responsibilities.
Well, it depends what your college... I've come to realize not everyone was so privileged and lucky to have that kind of college experience, right?
I think it's partly because we went to a college.
Even people who did go to... people lucky enough to go to college.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't necessarily have that experience where they went.
Yep.
And then a lot of people, the high school was that experience for them, and they're still with their high school friends.
Yep.
Even if they had a high school experience like that, if they're lucky enough to have that.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, we were lucky enough to have them.
Yeah,
right?
it was a combination of privilege of going to the school, the fact that the school was actually pretty physically isolated and none of us had cars.
Intentionally, that's what I sought out.
Me too. I wanted to get the fuck away from my whole life and go somewhere new and be an adult.
Right. Well, I had already had the summer camp experience, and I was like, going to college, I was pretty much, imagining like going to summer camp, but I'm like, man, I got to go somewhere with nerds.
Yep.
And that was my plan, and my plan totally came through. I was like, going to go somewhere and make a bunch of nerdy friends and finally get to play a bunch of BattleTech, and it totally happened.
A bunch of other stuff. There was also a time, like a setting
Exactly
situation.
as I saw my foreseen.
We entered college pre-cell phone and left college post-cell phone.
That's
We
true.
went to college pre-BitTorrent and left post-BitTorrent. Pre-YouTube, post-YouTube.
Pre-Facebook, post-Facebook.
Yeah, like Orkut came out and we were like, whoa, what is this thing? What is a social network? Hot shit. Like,
we came in with AIM and ICQ, and he left with AIM and ICQ.
yep.
Yeah, there was a little bit. We do some Jabber, kind of Google Hangouts shortly thereafter.
Yep. We didn't adopt Twitter right away, which came way after.
Well, yeah, Twitter came way after.
We ran a
college.
Laconica
Twitter,
server.
GeekNights is older than Twitter.
Yeah, GeekNights is older than a lot of things.
That's right.
So that setting, like, and the other crazy thing I saw recently, someone was talking about The Wonder Years, that TV show. Remember that show?
Yes.
So when that show
You're
was
saying
on,
the way boomers look at the Wonder Years, we look at...
yeah. So when that show was on TV, the era it depicted was from the past. Like, it depicted an era from the past.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch that show, like when I watched The Wonder Years, it felt like it was depicting an ancient time.
Yeah.
If The Wonder Years were produced today, it literally covers the 5 years we went to college.
Mm-hmm.
That's how long ago that was by like cultural like standards.
Right. Yeah.
So it was this right time and place to where when I left college, that left a deep hole in my like day-to-day life.
Well, I mean, here, shout out to any writers out there. Write a Wonder Years 2. Just don't even, it doesn't have to be based on the actual thing or you have the same name. Just make it about people in the year 2000 to 2005.
Yeah. Like
Right?
one of the episodes,
with the same format, just different names.
episode 43, Scott gets a cell phone. Because I remember when you got your cell phone. That was a big fucking deal. Like, everyone was excited about it.
Were they? Okay.
Yeah, because no one else had one.
All right.
Right? Like, texting cost money back then.
It mattered the most at conventions where I was the point man.
We used to bring walkie-talkies on road trips.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway.
So we left college, like, shit situated. We ended up in the Mid-Hudson Valley. We rented this house, and we're living in this house, going to jobs. And we'd, like, play 5 board games and watch a movie every night.
Right, we had a long commute, but we still got home and had nothing to do.
Well, back then, I didn't have a long commute. I had a 10-minute commute.
Well, yeah, but we still had nothing to do
Yeah.
when we got home. We would make some kind of dinner, maybe go to the grocery, which is far, actually. Maybe go out to eat or order food, but we needed something to do.
But we also missed the fact that, we ran the RIT
there wasn't a
Anime
GDQ
Club.
to watch.
Yeah, but and I was on the executive board. And while Scott never had an official role, really, Scott was actually very important to running that club.
Sure.
You were like the shadow advisor.
Yeah.
But we basically ran this club for a long time, and it was actually a bigger part of our lives than we realized. And we were it was weird to be more for me than you, I think, to be used to having an audience, to be used to having fans. Like, I was used to anytime I went outside at RIT, to class, people would just bother me and be like, "Oh, hey, Rim, we're Anime Club." Ah. And now I was living in the normal world where no one gave a shit about me.
Well, I also, even less than that, and having an audience, right? It was simply just
audience is more my thing than your thing.
It was simply just having a social life immediately
Yep.
at where you are at all times, right? So it's that's why I like summer camp so much. It's you're hanging out with your friends. Like, you think about a sleepover. Like, kids love a sleepover.
I love a sleepover now, and I'm 37.
You have a whole weekend with your friends. Yeah, summer camp is a fucking 8 weeks sleepover, right? So, college is 4 years sleepover.
Why do you think we're so obsessed with conventions? Because conventions are that life for 3 to 5 days.
Right, you get all your people together to have a good time for an extended time, which means you can do things that take longer, like play BattleTech.
Yep. So we basically sort of
have an anime marathon.
So for a lot of different reasons, we ended up basically trying to make our own community on the internet around ourselves just to get all these things we were missing.
Well, we also, we tried to get our friends also to come a lot.
Yep.
Right.
We actually used to try to get a lot of our friends to be on Geek Nights, to do side shows, to make content, and basically no one we knew was able to do it consistently or reliably except us. For a lot of reasons. So we gave up on that over time, but we just kept doing it. And one thing, I
think it started out as we have nothing else to do.
Yep.
Right? And we discovered, like, the iPod Nano came out. We saw what we're like, oh, that's what a podcast is.
Yeah.
We were in the perfect two white guys position to make one.
Yep, we had
And now
money, free time,
we
no
had time,
responsibilities.
technology, and knowledge.
Yeah,
right?
because remember,
we had the computer knowledge, the audio knowledge, and we had big mouths.
I hope we talk about this in this meta episode from 2005 because the only reason Geek Nights got as good as it, because it got pretty good. Like,
Because you took some class at RIT.
Well, not just that. I was into audio engineering from like elementary school on. Like I was making mixtapes. I was fucking around with reel-to-reels. I had mixers.
Making a mixtape on your Fisher-Price recorder doesn't count.
No, I was like making mixtapes by I had like dubbing equipment.
You made a stereo with 2 cassette tapes in.
I had multiple stereos that I linked together, and I would like crossfade songs and make mixes on cassettes. I started learning mastering. I learned a lot about audio, and then in college, I like doubled down and learned audio engineering. I took several classes on that. But I mean, I did
2.
More than 2.
Pretty sure it was like 2.
I took 3.
Oh,
It was 3 classes.
I'm sure.
One of them was digital music, and
I
then
remember only 1.
because Music Theory 1 and 2 also covered music production and media production, and also
You're counting the music theory class
because they covered this stuff, and also in high school I mastered like the audio and even recorded a lot of my friends' shitty bands.
Anyway,
I played in some bands; they were shitty.
The point is, we had enough knowledge of audio and plenty of knowledge of computer.
Because back then,
I had actually made a podcast earlier and didn't realize it was a podcast. I had like a blog in college, and I was like, what if I record like a WAV file of me talking and upload it to the blog? There wasn't RSS. I think there was RSS, but there wasn't like the embed tag that would make it automatically work.
Nope.
But I did do that. That might be I don't know if that was the oldest podcast on earth, but it was old.
Yep, but that like precursor knowledge we had was important because when we started, podcasting was pretty new. There were a lot of people, mostly professionals, who had audio skills, but they didn't have anything to say and they didn't know how to make the technology work. A lot of people had things to say.
We could do all the things on our own.
All 3 things we could do.
Yes.
Like I already knew what a compressor was.
And we had nothing else to do, so we did them all.
Yep. And that's partly why, like in those early days, like within a month, GeekNights format is like locked down and pretty tight. And within 2 months, our audio sounds fucking great compared to listen to any other podcast from 2007. Even professional ones kind of sound like shit.
Yeah, we also had money because we were living cheap.
Yep, but not that much money. It was like we had all analog mixing equipment. Like the mix, like the pipeline to make Geeknights, like was literally an analog mixer mixing down in all analog pipeline. Meaning, if anything went wrong, the recording was fucked. To a Linux box running. What was it? Audacity? Not Audacity. It was Resound. I defy you to make that software work in 2020.
I don't think it exists.
No.
I mean, you could probably get it because open source. But
I refuse to use Audacity because it sucked.
Developed. Anyway, so that was what Geek Nights started. Also, the convention panel thing is actually older than Geek Nights.
Yeah, we were doing convention panels.
We did the panels before Geek Nights.
2002, but it was me doing them by myself until 2004.
Right, and then as soon as we had the Geek Nights, we were like, well, we're going to these conventions. And we just submitted applications to do conventions. We had a resume of ones we had done before. And we just tacked on, we're from this podcast. We want to do these panels. And we've done them before. So people accepted us, which increased the resume, which allowed us to do more. Which allowed us to do more.
And then it was 2008 when we were like, let's go to PAX.
We always wanted to go to it since it existed, but we didn't have enough money for that. We spent it all on microphones.
One of my biggest regrets in life is not going to PAX a year or 2 earlier. Like I should have made it happen. Hitchhike. But basically, back then, like PAX did not have the concept of like fan panels.
No.
Like there
weren't a lot of panels, period.
The way to submit a panel to PAX was like reach out to them. And I was like, hey, we are these podcasters. Here's our resume, here are credentials. We want to talk about this topic at your convention. Let's talk.
And they said okay.
But they've
said okay every single time since then.
We have presented at every single PAX in North America since 2008.
Yep.
And 2 of the PAX Australias.
Yep. And
so
if we had gone to the other Australias, because they don't pay for us to go there or a hotel.
Again, the privilege of money, we can buy we can pay for all the things that afford if you're given access to take advantage of that access.
Yes. So yeah, we did that. We changed over time. We added and removed various conventions.
We used to do a lot more cons.
Yep.
Which was sadly one thing. That's actually when we stopped doing a lot of smaller cons.
Well, I think we did more cons in the earlier days because when we were in, Beacon upstate, we had car. So we would drive to a Katsucon or we would drive to, we would drive to these other cons.
But that was part of what was driving our growth. We had more listeners then, like as a percentage of the podcast market than we do now by far.
Who knows? But the point is, we drove, so we'd go to other conventions, even small ones, with our car. Now that we're only in a city with no car, we go to the conventions that are in big cities. And since we don't have a lot of time, we go to the ones that...
We only go to the biggest conventions.
Right, we only go to ones that we would go to if we were only attendees. Because we went to Anime Boston, I think the longest of the non-gaming cons.
But it got to the point where going to Anime Boston was like going to a job.
Right, it's like we went to it, and except for a few things that we did there, like concerts, Anime Hell, the panels that we were on, walk around the dealer's room once, we spent the rest of the time fiddling about, not doing much. Right?
Like basically sit in the green room, wait for our next panel.
Right, we spent
Wish we'd submitted more panels.
Right, we spent a lot of time there, not, and it would the expense of going, even though they were very good and they would like pay us to go, they were great. And it was great as an anime con. I'm sure it still is. The hassle of doing it, plus our friends stopped going. And
well, that's something that really happened. Our friends over time, like even our close friends, stopped going to almost all conventions. Like MagFest is the last one that a lot of our friends go to, and increasingly we have this like two sets. We have like the friends that go to MagFest and otherwise don't go to cons that we only see at like friend events. Then we have this other set of friends that we see at those things, but we also see at all the PAXs.
Right. Well, it's like our friend group started as, the college friend group, right? But largely, thanks to GeekNights, it succeeded in creating another friend group that merged, and it's at the point at which it doesn't, at least to us, since we're at the center of the social circle, it doesn't feel like two different groups. But when you look at the list of like, here's the list of all my friends, right? And I look at it, and it's like
people who fly to every PAX and people who don't.
Well, it's like RIT. I met them because of GeekNights. I met them at a convention. Right? And it's like these are all equally close friends that are basically family. And some of them are from college, and some of them are from GeekNights convention meeting. Right?
It is weird how many.
Because we had all those things, we were able to form this, this group.
So we actually succeeded in a lot of our goals. Like GeekNights is not crazy popular, partly because we've never really tried. Like we don't do ads. We haven't tried to monetize. We never went pro. Like
we bought ads, crappy banner ads once.
But we didn't really push it. But yet it's still like just word of mouth and content alone. Like GeekNights is pretty popular.
More than 0 people pay attention.
Like I got almost 10,000 people just on the YouTube. Though weirdly, most of the people who watch the YouTube don't seem to know we do a podcast.
Anyway, so the point is that, for the pretty much all the 2010s, the whole past decade, we pretty much like just carried on with habit. Right? We didn't really try hard or change much or, right? Like, we just kept doing what we were doing.
We got better at doing what we were doing, but we weren't doing new things. Like, we kept doing the convention panels.
We didn't change the format. We started uploading more things to YouTube.
We started doing more video, and when we get to the future bit, we'll talk about that, because we're going to start doing a lot more video.
We tried to do a few things, like the Pony Show and the Utena Show.
Which were really popular. Like, really popular. But at the same time, those things take a lot of effort, and normal people do one thing like that, and that's their whole hobby. Like most people will do a pony YouTube channel, and that's it. We're still doing GeekNights, and we tried to do like a pony show at the same time with the same production value.
Well, the other problem is that we got GeekNights to this point where it doesn't take effort to make it. We can just sit down, and it is created without any work.
Ever wonder why we rarely have guests on the show? Most people...
We want to have lots of guests on the show.
You know why we don't have guest hosts? Because unless you are a professional at the 3 things that we're professionals at, it takes like 4 to 12 times more effort and time to make a show that includes you.
Right. It takes us... The amount of time to make a GeekNights is the amount of time it takes for us to sit down, talk, push a few extra buttons.
Sometime I should record the like post-production process, like what it looks like today, and it's looked like that for more than a decade. Like, even when we were living in Beacon, I had this
Well, you
crazy
didn't,
Python.
you didn't have Creative Cloud then.
No, but I had a crazy Python script that I we'd finish Geek Nights, I'd run this script, it would edit the show together, like do everything. It was amazing.
But the point is, we can't do video that way. Video actually takes a lot of labor, which is why like I've fallen behind on doing any like anime judging or anything. Right? I've managed to streamline that quite a bit, and I have ideas a way to streamline it more to make it less work.
Well,
but it's still a lot of work.
But that's when we get to the future.
It's time consuming.
The only reason Geek Nights takes zero effort is that we actually spent months designing our pipeline and like building it out.
It's not just the technological production.
We design things like once we figured out the format, we were like, how do we make the format work? How do we transition?
Well, it's also that we can just sit down with no preparation, no writing, no anything, and as long as we come up with an idea, which is the hard part, we can just immediately start talking.
And
right, and if we push record and talk.
And honestly, at conventions, we can do that too.
If we bring another person, they can't do that.
Nope.
Right?
You should see when we interview people or even bring them on the show. Like, I won't name any names just because I'm not going to be mean, but we've had some great shows with like guest hosts or like people on the show that we've interviewed or just like included.
Not many, but good ones.
But it literally, like, I remember an interview we did once. It took me like 4 hours just to edit them so they didn't sound stupid. They are very smart, but they're not good at this.
Yep. And also, it's like we can just sit down whenever, right? Like, I just show up and we do it. If we bring in more people,
we have to schedule it.
Schedule at a specific time, which makes the whole thing more time consuming, even if they can just talk.
Yep.
Right? It's like it fits right into your day if you just show up and record when you happen to show up and then leave as soon as you're done. You know, that doesn't really, you don't lose a lot of time. If you have a time, like, all right, we have to record with this person at 7 and they're here for an hour. Well, now I need to make sure I show up before 7.
And if we're doing
time before waiting for them and setting up for them, and then after we have to spend more time, right? It's exponential how difficult it is to add another person.
Well, like, for example, or even like short form content. Like, you remember a while ago I did that video, like, why Five Nights at Freddy's is scary. That took like 10 times the effort of a Geek Nights episode. Because one, I had to do research, like real research. Then I didn't write a script, like I didn't use my teleprompter, but I had to at least like decide what I was going to say so it would be a coherent, like, visual and like audio essay. It couldn't just be me bullshitting for an hour. Then I had to go play Five Nights at Freddy's for like a week to get all the footage and assets that I needed. Then I had to video it, and that was before I had like bought nice cameras and like lights and things, so it doesn't even look that good. And then I had to do the pre-process, post-process, and all the bullshit, and then put it on YouTube. That took it took me like 2 weeks to make that fucking video.
Yep.
And honestly, I could make a video like that once a week. If I had a production crew and that was my full-time job, I could make one like once a day. But we both work full-time.
Yep, that's not changing.
Nope. In fact, another thing that's happened.
Unless someone wants to send me mad money or a winning lottery ticket or something.
So let's get to the present. One thing that happened, I haven't talked about this a lot on the show because I work for a company where it's you can figure out where I work, but it's good to keep a certain amount of separation.
There's so many things going on in the present, right?
Yeah, the world's on fire.
Yes, the world's on fire.
Like, we're in a fucked up time right now where literal Nazis are like a real threat to American democracy and like the world order.
We may have to, turn Geek Nights into like Nazi killing radio if necessary.
Like, not gonna lie, I have contingency plans to leave the country if certain things happen over the next several years.
Rim's plan is to run. Scott's plan is to fight Nazis.
Well,
I will defend New York until probably I die.
I have multiple plans.
I will die defending New York from Nazis.
But I feel like Radio Free America is a skill that I could bring to the forefront more than like actually killing people. If it came to like World War III, like Nazi resistance.
I mean, I don't mean, even though I can't do one push-up, right? So how much of I'm not exactly... Right.
But
I'm not exactly ready for Wolfenstein 3D. I'm just saying metaphorically, I will stay in New York and defend New York against whatever fire on earth comes.
Let's just say that we're in a very politically and socially fraught time, and we're on the precipice of potentially very bad things.
Whatever attacks New York, be it flood, right, or whatever.
I'm just thinking like Seinfeld, neither rain nor sleet. No, it's the first one.
Right. That is Scott's plan.
Yep. Dude, the world's
will run away.
Yeah. Also literal fire. But 3, like, I got a new job a few years ago. And I'm very good at my work. Like, I've never had to work hard at any job I've ever had before.
Same.
The job I have now is not that hard, but it requires, honestly, more like mental effort while I'm at work than any job I have ever had, just simply due to the sheer scope of my responsibilities. What that means is that for most of my life until a couple of years ago, I had a lot of like downtime at work to think about GeekNights production pipeline stuff, so that I'd already done the thinking. So when I get home and I have to like make a video pipeline to do a video, I've already done the hard work.
Mm-hmm.
But now I
but
do
just
not
at work, you've only got the bad screen. You got to go to home where the good screen
like
is.
I barely even chat with our friends at work because I'm literally like at work thinking about like how do I solve this very complex like political problem across 6 engineering teams. And I have to think a lot at work. When previously when I had to work hard, it was doing, because the thinking, like I'd already done all the thinking. So I don't have time at work to think about GeekNights, which means when I'm home, I can either do something that I'm already good at and produce something that I can deliver to all of you, or I can think about something, but then I deliver nothing to you. I don't create anything. I just build a precursor to create something different. So we've both, I think, been defaulting to creating the things that we can create and getting stuff out, as opposed to building the pipeline to do something new.
Anyway, so the present is pretty much that we've just maintained the status quo for a long time.
Yep.
But the world's on fire, and, you know, things in life are changing. But that doesn't mean we're just going to give up and be like, well, right, no.
GeekNights, GeekNights is way too big a part of our lives to stop anytime in the next decade or two.
At least my plan for the future.
Yep, let's get into the future, because we've already gone on for almost an hour.
Right, well, we got to do some changing, right?
Yep.
So this means changing all the things, but I don't think, previously, right, one of our friends pointed this out to me, and they were exactly right, is that previously we've always had sort of this is like, computer software engineer talk, right?
Yep.
We've had a waterfall development model for GeekNights, which is, what that means is you do plan, all your planning, then all your building, and you build the perfect thing, and then you release it all.
Which
right?
I think is our flaw. Like that Five Nights at Freddy's video, if I just sat down with the webcam and just fucking did it, like unscripted in one go.
About, right, now, like, if you look out in the world of people following that model, even going to the moon doesn't follow that model. It was like they sort of did, right? They built the whole rocket and then they launched it, but they took 11 rockets, right? They incrementally developed, right, and some of them didn't go very well, right? And there were other rockets besides those 11, but you get the idea, right? So I think what we had to do, and I've also, another thing I was discussing today, I forget where I read this, so I can't link it, sadly. People were talking about the, shit talk, which is something we've talked about in GeekNights since the beginning.
I read that same article you were talking about.
Shit talk and crab people, which is basically you talk about that thing you're going to do. I got a plan for this project, and you tell everyone about it, right?
But we've always had a rule. We very rarely talk about things that were until we've actually started on them.
I mean, the thing is, I'm always in favor of being public, because I look at so many companies and things keeping things unnecessarily private and secret, and I want to prove them wrong, that like, no, you don't have to keep things private and secret. You can be completely open about everything you're doing, and it won't somehow hurt you. Your competitors won't steal your idea. Like, Apple could give us daily updates on like, what the next iPhone's going to be, and it wouldn't hurt them at all. That's what I believe anyway, right? So I want to be that way, that I believe, to demonstrate that I'm right. But the thing is, I learned that psychologically speaking, if you say what you're going to do, right, just like on a personal level, psychologically it makes you feel like you've done it, and now you're less likely to do it, and it's more likely to become shit talk. So I want to be open about plans and what we're thinking, but I also don't want to say, we're going to like make a video show about this, and then end up not doing it or doing it less, because psychologically we've now feel accomplished when we haven't accomplished anything.
Which I think the point there is that right now we're going to talk about like vision and strategy, but we're not going to talk about specifics.
Right, and that's because actually I don't want to do any specific thing. I have so many ideas all the time for things, and I end up doing like none of them. So my idea is, starting now-ish, right, is why do we have to like follow some format where there's like we have a show with a name and it has episodes, or we have a thing like a project and we keep doing it.
Look at the Utena show. Look at all those things. They still were like Radio Free Equestria, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3.
I'm just gonna make whatever I feel like making, whenever I feel like making it. If I just feel like, you look at like Twitch streamers. They always got to stream on a schedule. And they got to stream. No, you know what? If I feel like streaming right now, I'll just turn the stream randomly. I don't got to announce it. I'm just gonna whenever. Right? I feel like playing this game today.
Instead of like
you didn't get to see me finish streaming that game. Yeah, I didn't feel like streaming the rest of it. I'm playing a different game today. I'm gonna stream that.
Well, like that Wargroove thing, I started streaming like every like mission in Wargroove, and I was gonna do a thing in episodes. But now I'm busy. And fuck that. I'm just gonna if I play Wargroove, I'll stream it.
Right. You know what? I feel like making a video about this thing. I make that video. I never make another video like that ever again. Whatever. Right. I'm gonna post some photos. It doesn't have to be.
Now, that's not to say we're not gonna,
I'm gonna post them.
That's not to say we're not gonna plan. Because one thing we are gonna do is we're gonna build. One thing we are gonna build. This is specific.
The point is, I'm going for quantity. Right. Just make stuff and put out stuff.
But think back to early Geek Nights. What we did spend a lot of time planning was the production pipeline to create a podcast, like mechanically, regardless of what the content was. So
I gotta be if I'm gonna stream at random times.
I need to be able to sit down
videos
here
at random times
and go boop, and the stream just everything is just working.
We have to set up stuff.
Like I did
so
for
that
this
I can just do those things as soon as I think to do those things. I can go and
before that momentum's gone.
Right, I can just set the thing up and do it right away with very little effort. Load it up, upload it, and be done. 1, 2, 3. As easy as like if I'm sitting at home with nothing to do and I say, you know what, I got an idea. Just do it as easily as I do this Geek Night.
So I'm not gonna plan to do a particular video show, but what I am gonna plan a lot is. What is the hardware, software, and setup to, as quickly as possible, if Scott and I want to make a video together, how quickly can we just set up a standard kit that just works so we immediately start making the content?
Make all kinds of things in all sorts of mediums on all sorts of platforms, right? I'm trying to use our social medias more, our Instagrams and Twitters or whatever. We have Facebook, but I'm not going to put any work into the Facebook. It's an automatic thing.
But to be clear, we are going to just keep doing Geek Nights, like the show, because this costs us
But
nothing.
also, Geek Nights format, right? It's like we're not going to waterfall it and just be like, okay, all new Geek Nights format. But you know what? We'll just change things over time. If it works, we'll roll it back. If it doesn't work, we'll roll it.
One thing to
whatever.
our credit, I listened to those early episodes. Once we lock the format down, I think our format, like the format of this for a podcast that is like
it's okay
twice a week. It's a really good format.
Right, but we don't have to feel like there's some law, like we must stay in this structure. We can just do whatever we feel like doing.
Though, that's not to say that is good advice for all of you, because the reason we are so good at this is because we set up this structure and we just fucking did it 4 nights a week for years and years and years. Like we forced ourselves.
Originally we said that was at the very beginning of Geek Nights. I was like, look at those Penny Arcade guys.
They just made a comic.
They make a 3-panel comic and they make it 3 days a week, no matter what. We have to do the same thing. And we're not as consistent as them. But we were consistent enough that it worked.
It really did work, and we need to build the pipeline to easily make video, build the pipeline to easily start streams, but. What we do with that is you're just gonna have to see. We got ideas. We're not gonna shit talk them until we just do them.
And also the things around Geek Nights. Right. So I don't know for anyone who's listening. Right. So we got Rim has a YouTube channel. I have a different YouTube channel. There is actually a Geek Nights YouTube channel.
We lost it.
I think I can access it maybe. But I don't know if we need
The tricky part is most of our followers of video are following my channel because that's where I put all the panels.
Right. But yeah, I also have channel. And it's not like I can upload to Rim's channel. Anyway, I have a Twitch channel. I don't remember last time I used it, but
I'm gonna keep streaming on YouTube.
Usually when I stream, I use like this restream thing that streams to Twitch and YouTube. There's also, who knows, maybe I'll try the Mixer thing. Maybe another site will appear. Who knows? Whatever. Yeah, you got to follow us on Twitter or Instagram, which I guess are the social, I guess Instagram technically Facebook, but whatever.
Just follow us everywhere. And stay tuned for like basic stuff. Like we are going to restructure.
Most of the time we tweet when a thing happens, right? So like every Geek Nights episode gets tweeted. Every news post gets tweeted. Every video we upload gets tweeted. That's the #1 way to see what's going on. I'm going to try to get Geek Nights on Spotify.
Yep.
It's on all the other podcasty places, and there's an
But again,
RSS feed.
the only reason we are not, like, we're on iTunes and everything else, but the reason we're not on a few
It's
platforms...
because we're too old.
It's because...
Our shit is so old school with RSS that new shit doesn't work.
And because we're busy...
I'm trying to fix it.
We do need to make a lot of changes to the web pipeline.
We're gonna redo the website. We got a great graphic designer come and help us.
Many of you have seen, like, if you've seen us at a con, or like you've seen, like,
Yeah.
bit by bit our logos are all updating in places.
We're doing slow changes. We're not just dumping this huge rebrand, right?
Yeah.
We redid all our business cards and our flyers. We got a new logo. We updated the avatars and the social media site.
Yep.
We're still doing more of that.
But see this philosophy. Old Rim and Scott would have not updated anything until everything was ready.
Exactly.
But now, our YouTube
Whatever,
channel...
we're not making money on this. Let's just roll it out
Well,
as we can.
We are making money, but not that much money.
Oh, well, you're taking all that money.
Yeah, but I'm also paying for the lip sync.
I'm still not in favor of Patreon for Geek Nights.
Well, I'm going to start putting...
Patreon is for people who, need the money, like starving artist people.
But...
It's not for people who got the money.
that money is going to be used to do... Like, I paid for all the graphic design stuff with that.
Sure.
And...
But you could have afforded to pay for it yourself.
Yeah.
So you didn't need that money.
But I do...
Stop giving Rim money.
I do have a goal in the end. I would like to...
If you hadn't given it to him, he would have paid for the graphic design with his own money.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I would have made you pay for half of it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I have money.
But the thing is, we're going to start paying for those kinds of things more often to accelerate ourselves.
Oh, yeah, we paid the graphic designer a lot of money, by the way.
Because another problem we have, like this is getting back to past and present, is that because we literally made everything ourselves in the beginning, except like we paid some artists for a few things, but like we made our whole website ourselves. We made like
I'm
everything.
probably still going to end up making the website myself.
Yeah, but
at least the back end.
When it makes sense, we're going to hire people to help us because...
If you want to help us, let us know.
But we personally cannot be good at everything we need to be good at to make some of the content we want to make while still having full-time jobs. Like, I'm a pretty good
I really want to pay
videographer.
someone to transcribe all our stuff, and I found people who will do it. But the problem is just the total amount of money because we have so many episodes. They will never be able to do all of it.
Oh, here's a harder problem. I would love to just pay camera people to video all our shit for us at conventions.
Yep.
The problem is, most conventions, if anyone touches the camera that's recording us while we're on stage, the union's going to fuck us over. And even with Patreon money, we can't afford to pay off the union.
Right.
We'd have to literally, like at PAX Unplugged, we'd literally have to pay like 2 people a wage to stand next to our camera.
So anyway,
some things we can't actually fix yet.
Right. I brought back recently the Geek Nights newsletter, which you may not know exists.
Yep.
Right, because someone reminded me the website Tiny Letter exists, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I use for the Geek Nights newsletter.
I'm bringing back Rim's Rants, where once a week whatever's on my mind just goes to the Patreon. It's just there.
Right.
I'm going to talk about this next the following.
I don't know what Rim's saying in Rim's Rants because I don't pay him to see the Patreon.
People like him.
But yeah, you should not listen to anything he says. Whatever he says is wrong. He's lying. I don't know what it is. It's wrong.
Watch, you like sneak in, like someone gives you $1, and it's just like, man, Scott's so good.
Yeah, if people are listening to this as an MP3, I don't know if you know, but we just stream as we're recording every episode of Geek Nights, we stream it on YouTube so you could watch it live whenever that happens to be.
Yep, there's 10 people watching this live right now, and these things get a few hundred views. Like
I don't know why they're watching. They got to have something better to do, but okay, there they are.
One thing you get... The self-deprecating joke can only take you so far because you just said we're going to try hard.
It's not a joke, though.
We're going to try hard, but don't ever look at anything we try hard on.
That's right. I'm trying. It's about me enjoying making stuff. It's
Scott,
it's not saying that you should be paying attention.
You're just being sad Piro.
No.
Just drawing sad girls in snow, telling people not to look at them.
But yeah, is that so? Yeah. Come and see whatever we make, but actually don't.
Yep. I'll put it this way. The show you're watching or listening to right now is going to keep going as it's going, but a lot of other stuff's just going to appear. Some of them might succeed, some of them might fail. I'm investing in the technology and hardware to ease the production pipeline on the kinds of new content we're going to do. I think I'm finally going to give up on using a giant physical mixer board because we do not need that because the kinds of things I need that mixer board for are things we're not doing anymore. That mixer is going to get busted out when we run a convention someday. And I need that mixer board to be in the live room. Part of that's because technology got better. Like cameras are cheaper, equipment's cheaper. USB-C, like modern audio input devices, are good now. Like they weren't that good a couple of years ago.
All right. So the last thing is the GeekNights community, right? So I don't know if people realize. So when we started GeekNights, right? You know, it's like, whoa, obviously we should have a community, right? Every thing had a community, right? It's usually its own web forum or news group or you know, newsletter where people could reply or something like that. In those days, that was the only way to have a community, right? You wanted, you know, if you were listening to a thing and you wanted to get together with other people who were following that thing, you would go to a forum for the thing. So we had this forum, and the forum it's been archived, and it still exists, and there's still people there, and a community is formed.
There's a terrifying amount of content in this old forum.
Right. But yeah, the forum's been going since 2005. And people have come, people have gone, we've met people, we've lost people, whatever. Things have, you know, dramatically, it's like a whole thing of its own.
We moved to new forum software.
Right. It's like a whole separate thing from the show. A lot of people in there don't even listen to the show.
But there's
a lot of people lurking in there.
Yeah, most people lurk. Holy shit, a lot of people read the forum with accounts but never
it's
post.
also completely public to the internet. It's not something where like only registered people get in.
But a lot of people have accounts but never post, but clear, like I can see in the logs, they like come every day.
If you want to register, make sure when you register for it, it's totally free. You just have to type. There's gonna be a box, like a reason for joining the forum. You have to type something in there that makes me click the approve button because I think, yes, this is a real person who knows who we are, and not some bot trying to make an account to spam.
Scott, are we saying that they can look forward to, the listener, more tech news roundup in 2020?
No, you can't. You can, in fact, maybe less. But anyway, but that was like the extent of our community, and I think that, you know, it's been 15 years. I think now, if you are the person who makes content, your community exists not in a forum that you make. Right? It exists in social media. People tweet at you. People reply. People comment on your Instagram posts.
I'm telling you something crazy.
People put people in your YouTube comments. That's where your community
exists. Our YouTube comments, like on my channel, that is an amazing fucking community. Like those people, you should go look at the comments on our YouTube videos.
Those people aren't in the forum. They're not, right? It's like
they don't even know the forum exists. Half of them don't even know the podcast exists.
Right. It's like that's if you're a new content thing, you know, today, not from 2005, that's where you have your community. So the forum itself has sort of lagged because people don't need it, any, you know, various reasons.
Yeah, but here's
which we're not going to get into right now.
Over time, our website eventually broke in a way to where the episodes on the site don't actually link to their forum threads.
I don't think that's such a big deal, but
so it's one of the funnels.
It's a deal.
We lost a funnel.
The point is,
also, most people don't even know we have a website.
Right? People don't use the website or forums or anything, right? So. The community-wise, I think we have to, you know, get with the times and update, and now engage more with our community and YouTube comments, you know, social media posts, right?
So something like
the newsletter. You can if you reply to the newsletter via email, I see that. That's how Tiny Letter works.
Yep.
And so, like, that's how you can give feedback on that, and then I can address it in the next newsletter. But yeah, reply. Don't worry. You can come to the forum if you want. It's going to exist. We're going to make changes to it. We don't know what those changes will be. Other than that, they will be slow and numerous.
Yep, we got a good idea
and
of the
gradual
vision and strategy, but execution is going to take us a while.
We're going to move the forum in different directions. If you're in the forum and you don't like those directions, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's just
not going to lie, tough shit, because a fundamental thing I see is that the GeekNights community, like the people who are just fans of this, are not the people in the forum generally don't listen to the show.
No.
But the people who listen to the show are not in the forum. And the people in the forum are increasingly just using it as a place to hang out.
Yep.
Which is not really what we wanted ever.
Yeah. We do have a subreddit that I'm the moderator of that is rarely posted in.
I think we're going to start using that more.
I don't know.
Maybe.
We'll see. It's posted in more than 0, but it's extremely rare.
There's a GeekNights Discord that's like, people are in there hanging out.
Yeah.
I'm in there. I mostly lurk, but I'm in there. I see.
Yeah, there is an official GeekNights Discord. It's actually adminned by a trusted listener because we didn't create it. But yeah, you can go. We have knighted it as the official, you know, public GeekNights Discord. You can find it and get in there and see what's up. We'll we'll see what happens with that. If more people go there or not, it has not much activity.
Yep. So,
but yeah.
So yeah, Geek Nights is gonna steamroll on, but everything around Geek Nights, other than the show itself, is going to evolve.
The show will also evolve.
Yeah, but the show will evolve less, I think, because the format's so easy.
We'll see.
It's so easy to make this.
Yeah, we'll try a thing now and then.
Can we do the lounge?
No, that's the thing. That will undo the lounge. In fact, I hereby cancel the lounge.
I'm gonna call this episode the lounge.
The lounge is hereby canceled. No more lounge.
Hereby uncanceled.
No.
Here's the problem.
Lounge over. Rip lounge.
The problem with Geek Nights is that we have equal say, and there's no way to break a tie.
Rip lounge.
Yeah.
Lounge dead.
Lounge forever. Long live the lounge. The triple L.
Here's the lounge's grave. Watch me rub my butt on it.
Yeah, so just keep an eye on us.
Okay.
Pretty good show. End the stream.